Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Joe Thunder back once again with another episode of the Smoking Joe Thunder podcast. Shout out real quick to our official sponsors, Be Good Dispensaries. You know, they're over there on 11 West Hampden. Or if you're up north on 120th across the highway from the Boondocks, they can take care of all your cannabis needs. You know what I mean? They got the good herb, edibles, tinctures, all that good stuff. Real quick, we got a banger for you today, man. Met this cat probably about 10, 11, 12 years ago. You know, graffiti bomber, graffiti writer. You know what I mean? Changed his names here and there. Lived a crazy-ass life. You know what I mean? Definitely a staple in, you know, Denver, Colorado graffiti. When I first met you, bro, like, I would just see your throwies fucking everywhere. Like, everywhere. And every day, no matter if it snowed the night before, I'd go a mile around, see a couple more. You was on your game, bro.
Oh, man, thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man.
But we got fucking Near in the house. I know him as Woe back in the day, you know what I mean? RTD crew, MDR crew, MSG. How you doing, brother?
Chilling, man. Good to see you, friend.
Right, it's been kind of a minute, been a couple years. I seen you at an art show not too long ago.
Yeah. It's one of those, like...
I kind of did a little peace treaty between you and the homie. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. We figured that out.
You know what I mean?
Those old TWC days.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But shit, man, how you been? You been just working, man? Just doing your thing, right?
Yeah, man. Just, you know, grinding, working a bunch. Try to paint when I can. But I live a real simple life nowadays.
I know, man. I see those rollers popping up here and there, man. What kind of inspired you to kind of get into the rollers? Because, like I said, I know you as a throwy king, homie. You know what I mean? Like,
man, I was just, I don't know, I had a shitload of bucket paint sitting around and just...
and that's how it starts, right?
Yeah, I was just, like, low on spray, and I don't know. I was checking out, like, some of these old hole cars we did back in the day at Honor Racks. I was like, man, I bet I could bang out some rollers in the city pretty quickly. First couple ones were kind of sloppy, but I got them back pretty quick.
Once you get a couple under your belt, man, it's just like anything, you know?
Yeah, it's all muscle memory, riding a bike and shit.
Nah, for sure. So let's kind of go back, though, man. Where'd you kind of grow up at? Your younger days?
I lived in Texas till I was like 15, and then went to San Diego from like 15 to 21.
Right. That's a big change, man, from Texas. What part of Texas, if you don't mind me?
San Antonio.
All right, so San Antonio to San Diego, that's a big-ass change, bro.
Yeah, it was, especially like, you know, it's like 96, and being a skateboarder in Texas...
That wasn't cutting it.
Nah, man, it was not like being a skateboarder in San Diego in 96, so it was a huge culture shock, you know?
For sure. So what were you into first? Hip-hop, skating, or graffiti?
Skating, graffiti, then hip-hop. Graffiti came with skateboarding, though, like immediately, like just...
Peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah, fools were skating spots and tagging spots. Like, it was just what was happening every day, so...
What were the years that you started skating and doing graffiti?
Man, I started skating in like 95, 96... And then graffiti would probably be like, I did like my first proper throw up in like 99 probably.
How old were you?
17, 16? Like for the proper spots, I was in high school for sure. I did some real bad shit in like middle school and like freshman year, but like proper spots, like.
What were you writing back then in middle school?
Fuck, some dumb shit probably.
You don't remember? You don't want to say?
Probably Sane, probably. That would probably be one. God, it's like fucking long time ago, dude. Sin 2 for sure. SI 2 N's with the number 2 because you had to have a number in your name. Middle school. Yeah, that was it.
What kind of intrigued you about graffiti and what kind of made you get into it? Was it skating like you said?
Yeah. I was just seeing people doing it at the spots and like skating abandoned warehouses and just seeing it in all the warehouses and shit and just being like, whoa, this is sick. Like, what's going on here? Like, why does this exist?
Right. And is this Texas or is this San Diego?
This was in Texas when I first got exposed to it.
Got exposed to the warehouse shit, right?
Yeah. This was like 7th, 8th grade, going to skate spots and like skating ditches was a big thing, like drainage ditches. So fools would piece the ditches. So you would go to skate the ditches and then see like the burners in the ditches. So it'd be pretty, you know, just everywhere you went with skating, it was there.
What made you move to San Diego?
My mom was in the military.
Okay,
so she got sent out
weapon,
there.
Huh?
Yeah, nah, she's a pencil, pen and pencil.
She still don't know how to shoot though, right?
Nah, not in the Air Force.
Nah. So you guys moved to San Diego. Was that? I mean, like I said, that was probably a culture shock for you. Like, man, this is a big city kind of now, huh?
Yeah. I mean, San Antonio was a big city, but it was definitely nothing like San Diego. Like, the just skateboard and graffiti level was like. You know, Texas was like at a 3 and Cali is at like a 10 or 11 on the scale, you know.
Even
like
back
just
then?
Oh yeah, I mean like the stuff like graffiti wise was just blowing Texas out of the water from what like I saw as a kid, you know, like it was wild.
What did you start writing when you moved to San Diego?
Sevs. I believe SEVS.
How'd you come up with that?
Throw up letters, just being one, like trying to do one-liners like Colt 45, and just thought they worked.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's what we were kind of talking about on the way up here. The way you got Woe was just like, it was simple for you, and you could just, can you explain that?
Oh yeah, like doing freeway spots, I would just like draw 3 like big ass squares and then cut the letters out. I like the letters because they were like basically vertical based, so you can line up everything pretty straight, pretty quick, and have a good like jump off to like add style too. You don't always have your proportions right.
Right. And how did you come up with the name Woe? Because most people don't use like 3 letters, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I was just going through the fucking dictionary and was like, oh, I could make a W, and I could already draw a cool E. So like I try to like make my W's kind of look like my E, you know, kind of symmetrical.
Nice, nice. And when did you kind of start taking graffiti serious when you got to California?
Yeah, that was like when it became a thing for real. Like when I wanted to like be up, like I was fucking awful, but you know, I was going for it.
As long as you're getting up, man.
I was trying to compete, you know. Like I was definitely like, okay, this is like a whole nother ball game.
What was like what kind of motivated you to kind of take it to that next level? Was it just seeing all the other graffiti?
Yeah, for sure. Trying to keep up. The standards were way higher out there, so it was just like
It's everywhere, and I can imagine back then.
yeah. So I was just like, all right, like the baseline is just above and beyond like what a lot of things I'd ever seen personally in my life, and I was just like, all right, this is a thing I want to try to see if I can do.
Nice. What was high school like, man?
I was chill, dude.
Did you party? Did you like? Were you?
I was a skate nerd, dude. I just fucking ditched school and skateboarded all day.
Nice.
I graduated, but like nothing impressive.
Right, just kind of
Yeah.
skated through.
Yeah, exactly, literally.
You know what I'm saying? What were you doing? What were you doing at first? Were you just catching tags, or did you come up with the throwy?
Shit, we were probably doing streaker tags at the skate spots in like 8th grade, 9th grade for sure. You know, like little split streakers, little two-tone joints. Yeah.
Back in the day,
Yeah, those were the fucking hot shit.
Were you hanging out with like older cats, or was it just? How did you start meeting people in the graffiti scene in California?
Again, just skateboarding, man. Like a lot of kids that write skate is just like synonymous. They go hand in
like
hand.
I said, peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah,
huh?
man. It's just, and the scene's so like intertwined that you can't really go anywhere without running into a writer in Cali. So it's cool, man. I had a good time out there. It was definitely like not the like fancy California experience, but
Right.
I enjoyed it out there. I'd still live out there if it wasn't so expensive.
For sure. Hey, do you remember some of the cats you first kind of met that were doing graffiti out there?
Let's see. Back then, I mean, this kid I went to high school with, Matt, for sure. He wrote Infer. That was my boy. And then after high school is when I really started meeting like graffiti writers. Well, I met Enron in high school too. So.
What were you doing after high school? Were you just kicking it? Were you just painting? Were you just working a bullshit ass job?
Yeah, I was working at the fucking movie theater, dog. Like paying rent, trying to fucking be a pro skater. Shit wasn't happening though.
Nah. Did you get hurt or what?
Yeah, I fucked my foot up a couple times, pretty good.
Dang. When did you kind of like realize that skating wasn't for you then? Like early or later?
Like 23, 24, I knew it was a wrap. Like the last, like when I like blew my foot out again.
There you go, right there on the screen, right there.
Oh shit.
In the fucking military fucking green.
The Larimer wall.
That was back in the day before the
Hey,
Rhino
it's a fucking one-way right there, dog.
that's-
They don't even know.
That's
Like, fools don't
before
even
the
know
Rhino
that.
was the Rhino. Fool.
Yeah.
That was the main Rhino spot for the fucking
Yeah,
crush.
that was
before
Larimer
it was
Street.
even that shit even years before.
Yeah, that's fucking back then.
So what made you move to Denver, bro?
I was posted up in Omaha for like a year, and I was just coming out here to skate. And Taser, I had known some people that knew Taser, and I had hit him up a couple times when we came out here, and I just was like vibing on D Park a bunch, and like
How did you meet Taser?
just through some homies that I had known forever, through San Diego friends. He knew some dudes in Seattle, and they moved from Seattle to San Diego right after I was in high school. So they lived like 2 blocks away in this like big graffiti writer house, and there was like all these Seattle kids. There's like 4 of them.
All right. And then
they-
what kind of made you move to Denver?
Good weed, skateboarding, snowboarding, being young and just not caring, wanting to paint the city. Came out here a few times, and like all the RT homies I got along with well, and they were actually super active, so I was with it.
How'd you meet those cats?
Just through Taser, basically. Yeah.
Nice. And then you kind of start, once you moved to Denver, you kind of like start running with them, or how'd you kind of get into RTD?
Let's see. Officially, they came to Omaha. A bunch of them came to Omaha when I was living out there and did some whole cars. And I had been bouncing around from Omaha to Denver a bunch. And that was kind of like that trip. I think it was like Slayer and Vomit and Awful. Maybe one other person. It was so long ago. They kind of were like, yeah, we need to put this fool down after this weekend. So I think we did like 4 whole cars in like
nice.
3 days and like a bunch of like end-to-ends. And like we partied one night out of control, wild. Like, so they had a good time. So they're like, yeah, this fool's one of us. And I just got bored in the small town. Was like, Denver was already cracking. So I was like, fuck it. Let's just pack up and go. I don't got shit to keep me here.
No, for sure, for sure. Was it mostly like, is Omaha like a train bombing spot? I take it.
I mean, it was back then. I don't know if it's burned out yet or not. Like, I haven't painted a train out there in years, but back then there were good yards and nobody was painting. There's probably like 4 graffiti writers in the whole state, you know? And like coming from Cali, I knew what to look for. So I knew like how to find yards and like paint trains out there.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Just like looking for like intersections of like roads and streets and like industrial areas.
Little
and,
cuts.
Yeah, just like fishing out industrial areas that would have like shipping, you know, like I don't want to give away any secrets,
No, right,
you know,
right.
you know. But
I kind of know where you're going with that. And
yeah,
I never.
certain businesses always are going to have a certain type of thing going on that need a certain type of thing, you know. So
I never really put that together until the homie kind of like, you know, took me a couple of times. I'm like, here, I'm thinking you're actually going to the yard, but you're not.
Yeah, like I'll just say this: like anytime there's like a place that has lumber, like a lumber yard, like shipping lumber, you're gonna fucking find stuff around there. It might not be cool shit to paint, but you'll find cool shit. So,
Right. Oh, for sure, for sure. So like, you're kind of more like city bombing in San Diego, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then when you move to Omaha, it's more trains.
Yeah,
and you
strictly
start making your
trains.
way to Denver a little bit.
Yeah.
What was the initial push that made you finally say, "Hey, I'm gonna move to Denver"?
I was catching some cases in Nebraska, painting trains and like partying and just being dumb, and I was just over it. I was like,
Just wilding out.
yeah, just small town fucking wilding
Antics,
out, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not hard to get caught when you're in a town that only has like 5 people like you know, like
Right.
it's a small pond, big fish kind of thing, you know.
Right.
So it was wild. I was just like over it. I was like, I need a change, and like the city was way cool. So I was just like, fuck it, man. 20 years later.
Packed up everything and moved here, right?
Yeah.
And then did you kind of start taking like graffiti a little more serious when you got here, as far as like the bombing? What kind of made you like start getting out there and bombing big time?
Trying to live up to like the lineage of like RTD members of the past, you know, fools I looked up to, Asset, AC, fools that like went hard in the city and like were like pretty much strictly like city writers, you know, like the pretty shit's cool. I can do it. I try to do it, but these dudes were up, you know, like I
In
wanted
good
to,
spots too.
yeah, like legendary spots, you know.
I remember one of the last spots that I remember seeing AC is right there on Colfax, kind of where that whole shit went down. It was they're building some apartment complex, and him and somebody else had hit it like the very fucking top of that shit.
Over on Colorado, yeah, I know exactly. Yep, over by Lost Lake.
And then seeing him do like that fire extinguisher on the highway, and then even the story, like, do you know the story of him painting the big ass roller downtown with the vest? Can you talk about that? Or
I don't really know too much. I just know he rode to the 16th Street Mall and vested up and did a gigantic RTD roller in the middle of the mall.
broad daylight?
Yeah,
and everything?
broad daylight, like sucking 4 p.m. on a Tuesday. Just charged it.
To the game.
Yeah, I just went for it, and he pulled it off for sure. It was like kind of crazy. I've seen flicks of it. I never saw it in person, but even the flicks, because I know the location in the city. I'm just like,
I've never seen
fuck.
flicks of that shit, bro.
I
Damn.
could probably find one for you.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I've heard that. Like, I heard he was like a getter back in the day. Like, didn't matter if it was during the day or what the fuck.
Yeah.
He would just have his way and get that shit.
Yeah, that fool was up, dude.
Definitely, man. I remember seeing, like I said, when I first started noticing shit, like him and Coz were like just killing shit. You know what I mean? Coz was like a burning a little more, but still
Yeah.
AC was right there next to him in the same spots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Coz definitely was like the more burner guy.
Were you ever like kind of like a crazy cat to catch crazy spots like that, or like the risk taker?
I'll do whatever, but like I don't like to climb out on shit, and I don't like to be trapped in a scenario. I don't like to not be able to get at least one escape route. Like that's just because I'm not trying to get like rolled, you know.
Right.
I mean, I've done freeway spots with the TKOs and shit back in the day, and I got to see the spot and just judge it for myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But 9 times out of 10, I'm probably game.
Nice. And then were you riding Woe when you got to Denver? Or?
Yeah, for sure. I'd already done like probably 800 trains and
God damn.
20 whole cars, 30 whole cars.
Do you have like a favorite kind of train you like or freight you like to hit?
We were painting a shitload of reefers back then.
Back in the day.
Yeah, and auto racks. Right now, dude, I like to paint hoppers. I think those are like the surface I want to paint, and like they run. I might get buffed a little more often, but I feel like I can paint a better piece on a hopper rushed than on like a shitty box car. I want my shit to look a certain way every time.
Right. Hell yeah, that's dope, man. So, what were you doing at this time besides like graffiti? Were you kind of wilding out,
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. I was
living fucking?
yeah, you know, we talked
I don't
about
even-
the sex, drugs, graffiti mafia, dude. Like,
How did that start? Being that you got, how did the sex, drugs, graffiti mafia start?
it was fucking me, Agent, and Cohen, just raging all the time, racking fucking ridiculous amounts of spray paint and going to the bar every night and just fucking trying to get girls and just living the wildest like graffiti life you could possibly live in Cap Hill when rent was still like $600.
That's crazy. And what was like? You were telling us earlier. What did you have to do to get in?
You had to like party with us all night. You had to do a bunch of blow with us, and then you had to get a spot and like bang a chick.
All in the same night?
Yeah, all in one night. That was like the prerequisites to get down.
You had chicks that were down with y'all too, huh? We ain't gonna say their names.
Nah, we had
We know who they are.
yeah, protect the innocent. Some of them got kids and shit now.
You told me some crazy ass story though, man. Like you guys would go hard in the paint.
Yeah, I mean, we do like 4 or 5 day benders, dude. Like straight up. These fools would be up for 3 days and then drop like 10 hits of acid. I couldn't do it, but a lot of other dudes could. It was wild.
What's like the most kind of spots you've caught in like a night? I was gonna say 24-hour period, but like a night. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Because once you have your throwy down, bro. So I'm sure you could pop 2 or 3 of them in like
Yeah,
5
I mean-
minutes. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, dude. I got like, I really test myself when I travel. So like, I did like in Miami, I think I did like 28 spots in 4 days, and that was by myself. I went out with Atomic one night, but I was just fucking getting those city bikes and just a backpack full of paint. And they had a fucking paint store that was open till 4 a.m. So I would just go dump all
Dope.
these cans and ride back over to the paint store and re-up. Right now in the wintertime, I could probably get like 4 or 5 if I really wanted to. It doesn't take long anymore. With like all the cheater caps, dude, you know how like wide these things spray nowadays.
Right.
Like,
You can go quick, man.
yeah.
Like one of the first times I kind of hung out with you, I tell you, we had like a crazy like fucking police chase story. The police
Yeah.
were on us all night.
Cops on bikes. Only time I ever really seen cops on bikes, dude. In 20 years of living in that neighborhood, I still ain't really seen fucking bike cops,
on bikes.
dude.
And like I said,
at
it was
night.
like 2. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I think we were like on Colfax, and it was like Madison. The homie Toast used to live right by the
Yeah.
liquor store.
Yeah, it was like fuck, dude. I know where Kyrie jumped out of the van. That was Colfax and like
That
York.
was the City Park.
Yeah.
City Park.
That's
but
when
we
he-
went to go hit a spot, and we picked this. It was like abandoned right there on like Madison and Colfax.
Yeah.
Drop you guys off, kind of flip around so I can catch some footage. You know what I mean? And like, I go to flip around, and you
Okay.
guys are already getting down quick. And like I told you, I go to flip like a bitch or something to get like to park to get some footage, and I literally cross like these 4 cops on motorcycles, and I say, "You motherfuckers, scat!" You know what I mean? And it was like, "Fucking, you ran this way, he ran this way." And like we met up like maybe like 30 minutes later,
Yeah, we were just I think I went and ducked into a bar for a minute.
and I remember we looked down Colfax, and they literally had a fucking shitload of cops there, bro. Like 10 cops.
Yeah, they were going
Trying
for
to
it.
document everything.
Yeah, they're
and
taking
fucking-
photos and shit. I remember that for sure. That's yeah.
We were all driving by, and they're all like kind of giving us the ugly eye. So we end up going to like around Swansea and catching some shit. But we end up coming back like 2 or 3 hours later to take some flicks, and the cops are still fucking there.
Yeah, they're just chilling.
And then they start tailing us. Like I swear it's like a video game. And I pull into someone's driveway, and we pretend to get out, and he goes right by us, and then we hop back in
Yeah.
before we get shot and get out, and then we go to 7-Eleven, and we have paint on our hands and shit, and they pull the same shit as 7-Eleven. They like look at us and go real slow. And I remember like I was like, "Man, you motherfuckers need to get in the whip. We need to get the fuck out of here." And we at the 7-Eleven right there on Colfax.
Yeah, the Ogden one, the sketch one,
And
dude.
we fucking took that left and started mobbing through the east side, and we get to City Park. And that's
Yeah.
where fucking Kyrie just jumps out the van and gone.
Dude, he just pulled open the sliding door van and
just ran out, just jumped out.
I was like, dude, that is the worst move you could. I don't know how we didn't get pulled over after they saw him do that, dude. I was like, we are definitely getting pulled over right
I
now.
was
Like,
gone, bro. Like, once you did that, I was through the east side 100 miles an hour.
yeah, I was
through
like, this is a
Swansea and
wrap.
Back around, and that was a crazy night, though, man.
And that was back when there wasn't a lot going on in Denver. So like, we stood out, you know. Like,
Yeah. Like I said, it was late. I remember it was late because we lived a couple blocks away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were still. I'm not gonna say where, but I remember that. Yeah, that spot for sure. You used to live in over there.
Yeah, man. What other kind of crazy shit have you experienced doing graffiti, man? I'm sure you've experienced a ton.
Oh man, all the usual crackhead bullshit. It's kind of hard to just think one off the spot at the top of my head.
Let's talk about like racking. Is racking?
I can give you some of those stories for sure. I don't know, man. Fucking me and Agent and fucking Cohen's, dude. We were just pushing mad carts at everything back in the day. I don't know. I think we averaged like 3 carts a week for over a year. And I was like, we all worked. I think, no, Cohen didn't work with us, but Agent worked at the pizza shop. And we would have the same days off. So we would just plan our racking missions to like, that would be the day, you know, like we would like wake up like militant style, like be up at 8, hit the first one by like, we'd have them mapped out. Like,
You'd have a plan for the day.
oh yeah, for sure. It was like a fucking 9 to 5, dude. Like,
Were you guys actually racking the paint, or were you racking shit to take back to get paint?
both, man.
Just whatever.
Yeah, I used to fill up the cart full of paint and then put high price items underneath on the like the rack on the bottom, roll out with that shit. And this is all like over 15 years ago, so statutes of limitations can suck my dick.
There you go.
Alrighty, but yeah, what the fuck?
Can you hear yourself?
Yeah, am I too close?
No, you're good now.
Okay.
You ever get chased by fucking any superheroes fucking trying to?
Oh yeah, dude, I've definitely had that happen. I've left many carts behind.
Have you ever knocked a motherfucker out running a cart?
Nah, I never had to do that. I definitely, like, the 2 times I actually got caught pushing carts, like, they had me, and I just knew there was no point of even making it worse, you know? I was just like, fuck it, you win, dude. Like, I'll charge it to the game. Like, I'm not going to struggle. Like, yep, can't fucking, there's 4 of you. Like, I'm surrounded. Like, all right, I see how this is going to go in my favor.
Watching your ass.
Yeah, I thought, oh, yeah, they knew. Yeah, I had that coming for sure. I was not being chill.
Was racking easier back in the day than now, or?
I mean, I haven't pushed a cart in since 2000.
So yeah, man. So you said you haven't pushed one in a minute, huh?
Yeah, it's been over a decade. But I got to imagine just, you know, like with my observations with the Home Depots and Lowe's, especially with COVID and like the mask policies.
Kind of open shit.
Yeah, I'm sure it was open fucking season. Like if you knew what you were doing, like in those like 2 years, like I could see the potential, you know, the old me was like, oh yeah, this would be a cakewalk right now. But
Right. Back in the day when you're doing shit like that, pushing carts, would you have to get like all fucking fucked up, or would you be sober, or how was?
nah, sober as fuck, dude. Sober as fuck. You got to be pro at that. I mean, personally, I had to be professional with that. Like, I'm not trying to get roped, so I want to be like.
You playing like the whole fucking dressed up like Poindexter, like nerdy?
I went more for the like kind of like job site foreman vibes. So like I would wear like nicer clothes, but I would still like have fucking like scruffy boots and shit, and like look like a step above like a normal worker. You know, like I'd have a clipboard and shit sometimes, like just dumb shit like that to kind of like look legit, and sometimes fake receipts too.
Mm-hmm. That's always a good one. I thought of that like much later when I was like a kid buying toys. Like, man, I could have got my receipt and went back. Got me like 4 more G.I. Joes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I couldn't imagine being like the kid I was then, and then like going in like to a Home Depot and seeing like the COVID conditions, because I would have like run amok in those stores. Like even told like the chick I was with at the time that kind of knew my past, I was just like, man, this is a free-for-all right now. Because I don't even think they had security for a while. They were just letting fools walk out.
Yeah, I know people that like that first kind of week, they're going to the supermarket every fucking day, piling up on steaks and lobster, whatever the fuck they wanted.
And like, I don't know, if I'm a Home Depot worker during COVID, making $12, $13 an hour, I'm not fucking running after you, dude. Like,
right? Did you kind of amp shit up during COVID as far as graffiti or what? It was a free for all, man. There wasn't.
That's what kind of brought me back, to be honest, dude.
This shit was dead.
Yeah, that's what brought me back, man. Like, I'm in the service industry, so like my like industry crashed. So I had like,
was it rough for you, bro?
It was the first couple months, and then that government money came in, and it was.
Did you get you a 1.1 PPP loan?
Nah, I got me fucking enough though, dude. I got enough to. I could have got greedy with it, but I was just like, nah.
I should have catch up to you, bro. Later down the road when you least expect it.
Yeah, I'm trying to like buy a house or something. You know, that shit'll come back to haunt you if you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
they'll be like, oh yeah, we were gonna give you this loan, but nah. COVID COVID PPP loan never paid back.
Right. Hey, what kind of made you change your name?
I just got bored, man. I wanted like a little bit of a change. I was, I've been painting Woe for like almost 10 years, at least. And I was just like at a life transition where I was like trying to do different things. That's like right when I left Denver for a couple years. So I was just like, I'm going to give this like a whole fresh start. And I just picked Near because I like the letters again. Like, I kind of knew what I could already do with them at that point. So it came along pretty quick.
Right. That's dope, man. And you just kind of been running with that, huh?
Yeah.
You been doing a lot of traveling or?
Here and there. My job keeps me pretty busy in Denver. So I went to Miami last year and then San Diego this year for a little bit. But besides that, I've just been chilling.
Dope. And talking about San Diego, you're down with MDR. How did that kind of happen?
I went to high school with this fool Enron, and then I moved away, but he was still in touch with all those MDR fools. And I had seen Preach up in San Diego right before I moved a bunch. That fool destroyed San Diego. It was pretty fucking intense.
Right. Did you ever get a chance? You met him, right?
Yeah, I met Chris. Yeah,
you ever paint with him?
We never painted, but we partied for sure. We always would like say we were gonna paint, and then just classic Preach
partying.
fashion. Yeah.
I went out with him like twice, I want to say.
Yeah.
I was able to. I tell the story of like I was with him and Heiser and like they're hitting some spot, the little fucking 6th Avenue, like highway Alameda shit, that little barrier.
Yeah, yeah.
And like one of them said something about the cops. And like I go to look, and it wasn't the cops, but I look and these fools are like gone. Like I'm down at least a block away. I was like, oh shit.
Track star. Yeah.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. What was it like with fucking hanging out with those cats, man? Were they or just getting crazy like you or what?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really chill with Preach too much. I was just in a whole different scene, like we were kind of like the younger kids in Denver. So I hung out with Cohen all the time and then Agent a bunch. And then like Skay was around a ton.
And that was the cat that had like the crazy, I call them like sharks. Am I right?
Yeah, well, he'd do like the Bart Simpson characters
with the little triangles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I ain't seen that for a minute, bro. But he used to get down too. He was actually on that one we were just watching, the whole Rhino before the Rhino.
Yeah.
He had some shit there. He would catch his shit.
Yeah. So we had like our own little like kind of group,
And where'd you meet? Did you meet these cats just like? Was it skating again or just doing graffiti?
Just graffiti, man. When I moved out here, I moved into this house that a bunch of like younger graffiti kids lived in. Cohen was living there, and then Agent had just moved up from the Springs. I think he had been here for about a year or so, but he had just happened to live in Cap Hill, like a few blocks away from this bar that we always frequented. And
the streets?
Nah, Bender's.
Okay.
Yeah, which is now fucking Black Box or some bullshit. But yeah, so we were just all the same age, and like all three of us skated, and we all did graffiti, and we were all down to rack paint, and we were all down to fucking stay up as late as possible and have as much fun as possible, and feel as awful as you can the next morning, and do it all again the next day.
Dang, well, you guys are getting up though,
Yeah, it was definitely like a party graffiti lifestyle for sure.
Party all night, paint all night, sleep all day.
Yeah, we would just go to the bars, and as soon as last call would go, we'd just go paint. Yeah, it would just be on, like riding bikes around the city. And this is back when Denver was like still a big city, but not like it is today. It was quieter, like 2:30, 3 in the morning on a Wednesday, leaving streets of London. There's not too many people on the roads or anywhere, but nowadays it's pretty busy still.
It's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Even like compared to like LA, because I've been there quite a few times, man. Like LA's like, it reminds me of like Grand Theft Auto straight up. After a certain time, like a lot of that shit is shut the fuck down. Like there's like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Like you ain't seeing nobody unless you're in like one of the main little parts. But you know what I mean? If you're downtown or anything, like, that shit's fucking hemmed up. Like it's a ghost town.
Denver definitely, like in the downtown Rhino, Lodo, upper downtown Colfax area, like there's definitely crackheads lurking 24/7 down there now. Like it's not quiet like it used to be. Definitely not, but I'm cool with it.
Right. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
How do you've been here for a while, so you've definitely seen the city change.
Oh yeah, man. I lived in basically the same like area of the city for almost 20 years, so I've seen the things come and go. It's wild to see what happened, especially after COVID, man. There's like nothing left on Colfax at all. Like it's crazy to see all the restaurants and bars that are just like gone.
Dried up.
Yeah, like institutions, shit that's been there for, 20, 30, 40 years, just like gone overnight. It's crazy.
That shit wiped out a lot of stuff, man, and like a lot of stuff is still vacant. Like Denver's kind of had its periods where we were watching the videos. There's a ton of abandos, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then weed became legal, and all the abandos were gone.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and the abandos kind of came back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely like. I mean, that's what COVID kind of got me back into painting again, because I had taken off. I don't know, probably not taken off, but I was like more concerned with like chasing women.
Yeah,
and
we
like,
go through our breaks. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I was still like getting up, but I wasn't taking like graffiti serious. And then like my industry collapsed, and I was just chilling, getting government checks, and like had a shitload of paint because I wasn't painting. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what else am I gonna do right now? Like, I'm bored. Like, there's nothing to do. There's no like police presence in the city at all.
Anywhere.
No, it was a ghost town, bro. It was crazy. Like some of the shit I did, I have like daytime spots with Agent, like on Broadway and 12th, like just like nothing, no problem at all. It was wild, man. And
Well, were you out during COVID? Did you ever see any police at all?
oh yeah, I actually got caught more during COVID than I'd ever been caught in my life. But they just kept on rolling. They would spotlight us, maybe hit us with a chirper, the little boop boop, and then keep rolling, dude. Like they didn't give a fuck.
Funny. I have a little story like that as being like fucking new booties, or you know what I mean? We're in LA painting, you know what I mean? There's some highway spot, bro. And the fucking cops flash us. And me and the homie from Albuquerque go running, fool. Up the stairs and shit, you know what I mean? Get to the top, climb through the hole. Because in Cali, I'll tell you this, there's holes everywhere. Mm-hmm. I was with the homies. They're like, we're going to jump the fence right here, but go across the street. There's a hole right there for your fat ass. Go through, walk down the stairs. So, yeah, we book it up there, man, 2 blocks away. We look back, like, where's everyone else at? They still painting. They finished. No, that's just flash. You know?
That feel like stopping on the freeway.
Exactly. And even downtown LA, man, rolling deep, like 7 or 8 deep. You know what I mean? Hitting some shit. And the cop just fucking looked at us, told us to hurry up and get on our way. You know what I mean? Didn't even say shit. And we was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I heard a rumor of like through like this community group that I was online, that I was, like Cap Hill Neighbors or some bullshit, that like cops weren't responding to non-violent phone calls. So like the only thing they were responding to was like violent crimes, like robberies, breaking and entering.
Crazy shit.
Yeah, they weren't like fucking with homeless fools, shooting up
Some
dope
Armageddon
in the middle.
shit.
Yeah, like they just. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna paint, dude. Like all these boarded up buildings, and like, what else am I gonna do? So like that got the ball rolling, and
I was kind of going to LA a bunch during that time period. I went like 3 times, man. It was fun, bro.
I didn't travel at all. I was sketch on it, dude.
Oh, bro, I remember LA round trip, $50, homie. Shit, there are like 10 people on the plane.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
Shit. And then the thing about
Get the
LA,
whole road
bro,
to yourself too. That's
the dog. They had to like place people to even out the shit.
Yeah. Oh, because they were doing the. Oh shit.
The waste.
So you're getting a whole road to yourself no matter
a whole
what.
Section, bro. Like shit. You know what I mean? And like I love LA, man. There's a couple things I don't like about it. I don't like the traffic. I don't like the dirtiness. But during COVID, there's no fucking traffic, bro. We were mobbing like everywhere, everywhere, just getting it, and like no traffic nowhere, bro.
Yeah, that's like one of the main reasons I don't ever visit LA is because I spend more time in the car and traffic than I do actually enjoying my trips.
For sure.
Just like, ugh, I hate it, dude. I don't come on vacation to sit in fucking gridlock, man. That shit's whack.
Hey, real quick before I forget, talking about online forums, you used to be hilarious on 12 ounce out there, bro. You remember 12 ounce back in the day?
Yeah, man. That was a thing. That was the Instagram before Instagram.
Right. And what was before that? The Fresh Sites.
Yeah, Fresh Sites.
Shout out. But 12 ounce was the shit because fools would get in there talking mad shit.
That was a.
I have some funny ass quotes from that shit. Just fucking, you know what I mean?
I wonder if that exists anywhere. Like, there's an archive of it somewhere because I would love to go back and see like
it's still there.
What my fucking stupid ass was typing 15 years ago when I was the fucking biggest toy ever. I thought I was so sick.
Dude, that shit was fun. That used to be like fucking. You remember U-Buns too? Where they would like put everyone on blast in the city, like rappers, groupies, just whatever. If you got 20 kids, it was like some crazy shit like that.
Wow.
They would just like clown them. They talk about like when Tech Nine comes, what bitches he be fucking with, and all kinds of craziness. That kind of reminded me of that shit though, because that shit was funny, bro. That shit was out of control. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't ever do that, but I knew the Ounce, man, and then Flickr was like a big thing too. I don't know if did you ever get into Flickr?
Nah.
No.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, Flickr was a big deal. That was more for like freights and shit because you could track the numbers and like find out kind of like what freights you had painted, you know, so you could track them and then like find like a Flickr like fan page from like that certain area and just kind of look for trains because you knew like your train was headed that direction.
Right.
So like there was this dude. What was his screen name? He was like somewhere like just outside of Chicago. I think it was like Woodpecker or something weird. And but he was on the main line, and so like we knew like if we painted trains and they started going that direction, they would probably probably cross his like path, you know. So we would like follow him, you know.
A little strategic, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think about graffiti writers when you were coming up compared to like now?
Oh man, I don't really have an opinion, dude, because I don't fuck with anyone.
Right.
I mean,
do you think? I mean, what would you obviously know? Like, just the way everything goes is, you know, they're not into the history. They're not really putting in a ton of work. Like, you know,
it's interesting. Like, Denver's has such a good like culture and history, and like for people like to not know like basic like Denver graffiti knowledge that are like think they're like the hottest shit ever. You know, I'm just like boggles my mind. Like, what was it? There was this kid that was like blatantly biting one of my letters, and I'm like, how do you do that? You know, like,
right.
And then there was another kid writing Cure out here, and I was like, dog, how are you writing Cure? This fool was like an MDR. He was in SRT. He was in NR. Like, he was like famous in Cali, you know, like, and you're just out here like writing this fool's name after he died.
They just don't know, like.
Yeah, I was like, to me, like, I did my research when I was a kid, you know, like I wanted to know like what had happened before. I didn't want to make the same mistakes as other people, so I wanted to like know like the culture and like the vibe of the city and the feeling of like who was writing what. Like, even if someone changed their name, you could still tell who they were by like the way their style was. And like, I don't think kids do that nowadays. I think they just grab some fucking $17 Montana paint and fucking
I don't think they do any research.
Nah.
Honestly. I don't even think they go as far as Googling the name to see, hey.
Yeah, or even just like.
I mean, honestly, because I want to say within the last year, I've seen someone writing Woe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like, shout out to that kid. He changed his name, and like he fucks with some of my like homies and shit.
Okay, but you know,
like he just didn't know. Like, and I was just like, damn, like that's crazy. Like,
or even I've seen a cope out there, and like you're like,
yeah, there was
the fuck.
There was a cope out here. It's so funny.
You know, it's man. I have a funny story about that. Like, you remember when Cope was when he came to Denver?
Yeah, he came to the AC's gallery, right? That's when.
Yeah, and he did that little bar like downtown. He was doing his canvases there. I forgot what the name it was. But I met this fool like, I don't know, like a couple months earlier, and he was like he like customized some hoodies for me, like real dope. You know what I mean? The shit he was doing was like dope, like with airbrush and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember that night I was getting ready to go down there, and like this fool's name was like Cope. It was like Cope something. And I threw on this fresh ass hoodie and I left. I walked out the door and I kind of thought about it because I still knew graffiti, and I was like, hold up. This doesn't make no sense. I better take this shit off. So I took it off, you know what I mean? And I just threw on another hoodie and went down there, and I just kind of put it together. It was just kind of the same shit.
You're like, yeah.
Some weird shit. Like, it would have definitely, that'd have been a toy move.
Yeah.
You know, the year go, say what's up to Cope.
And a fake Cope fucking hoodie.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's it's a fucking hilarious, man. Hey, one of the things that we were talking about earlier is you knew Ideology, right?
Idea,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, from Rhymesayers.
R.I.P. How did that kind of happen, man?
So my boy Sohn from Milwaukee, rest in peace, Nick. He is in this crew CTW, and CTW has a chapter in Minneapolis. And my homie Grow is from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and he was in CTW, and he also happened to be Idea's tour manager for a little bit. So they just wanted to hook up with some people in Denver, and Nick gave my boy Grow the number, and it was just a friendship immediately.
And like I said, you're like over there in Cap Hill, so you're literally like a couple blocks from the venue too.
Yeah.
Like bro, I live like 3 blocks.
Yeah, no, these fools stayed at my house every time just so they could save money and not drop money on hotels and shit.
Save that extra loot. You know what I mean?
Because they weren't like super famous by any means, but they were like, constantly
like
touring, making a living,
On that underground tip, like you said, constantly touring, man.
Yeah.
And you said they had a show up at Red Rocks, right?
Oh, yeah. It was like some atmosphere bullshit festival. Like, I forget the name of it, but it was a bunch of rhyme sayers dudes, and Idea was on the bill for sure.
Who else was on that bill?
I know where you're getting. Atmosphere for sure. I know who you're getting at right now. Murs, Big Murs, 316.
You guys were chilling, huh?
Yeah. We were having a little too much fun in the green room, and Murs was not having it. So I got the old heave ho from the green room at Red Rocks.
So you didn't at least he didn't kick you out the whole concert.
Nah, I didn't get kicked out the venue. I just got thrown out the green room. They took my pass though.
On some Hollywood shit.
I didn't get Jazzy Jeffed out the front door or nothing, but Murs said I had to go, so I had to bounce.
Hey, you said you weren't always into hip hop, huh?
Nah, I started off with like punk rock and shit, like skateboarding in the 90s, like in San Diego, like, NoFX, Pennywise, all that, like Bad Religion, all that shit was just everywhere.
I want to say it reminds me like some American History X type shit. Or no, not like saying that, but you know what I mean? Just like full skateboarding and you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's like definitely a genre like of skate rock, like bands that are just like synonymous with skateboarding for sure. Like I can definitely know a skate rock band when I hear one if I don't even know who the band is nowadays.
Right. And what kind of made you get into hip hop? Just
through skateboarding, man, and like graffiti, like fools, one day in San Diego, you're at a punk rock show. The next day, you're at like the homie's house watching him DJ, because it's just like the lifestyle out there.
Were you listening to like the underground stuff or the gangster stuff or a little bit of everything?
Everything, man. Because I grew up like, MTV kid, like in the '90s, like watching MTV and BET. So I knew like a little bit of East Coast and West Coast, and then like, I don't know, around 10th, 11th grade, I got a Gangstar CD. I got Moment of Truth, and then I remember I copped Reflection Eternal the day it came out at a Best Buy in Fashion Valley in San Diego. That's a fucking weird memory that I know it so well.
That's crazy.
And I definitely had my backpacker phase for sure, but I grew out of it.
Were you ever a rapper? You ever rap?
Nah, fuck no.
Nah, not at all?
Not even a chance.
Were you ever a b-boy? You ever try to break dance?
Yeah, middle school for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I think everyone had that phase. I could do. I think I could do like windmills for sure. I had a couple, like maybe like 2 rotations. Maybe never no flares. What's that shit? Where like a 1990? Yeah, I think I could do a 1990 back in the day. But that's about as extensive as the breakdance career got in 7th grade.
Right. Hey, let me ask you this: as far as like graffiti goes in like Denver, I want to say like the weed industry kind of brought it back. Would you kind of agree with that? Kind of because with the weed becoming legal and us being the first and all that, it definitely brought a lot of people to Denver that wouldn't really normally be here. And then people kind of start, graffiti start kind of amping up more than. You know what? Would you agree with that, or?
Yeah, man, I definitely can see that because.
Do you think there was ever a moment where it kind of like stalled?
I mean, Denver was always an up and coming city, so like it had spurts of like super heavy activity, but it'd only be like for a couple of months at a time, like when I was at my peak, But nowadays with like the weed industry for sure, because I mean, think about all the dudes from Cali that came out here, and 90% of weed growers are going to at least know a graphic designer that knows a graffiti writer, and they're going to come out to Denver and like, oh shit, this city's tight, let's just move here.
Because even though it's expensive,
yeah,
it ain't Cali expensive.
It's not Cali expensive.
It's manageable.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling you, dude, like at the bar in San Diego, it was like $16 for a White Claw and a shot.
Yeah, I could.
Like, you can't imagine that, dude. That life is not for me.
Like I said, yeah, $16 for a pack of backwoods, bro. Like, fuck everything. Like blunts are like $2.50 a piece at 7-Eleven. Cali's just ridiculous.
But then there was also other dudes, like, because the weed shit in Cali was always pretty chill, I feel like. But other dudes from like the South and Midwest would come up here, and like I think they brought like Denver's got like a lot more like versatile, like with their styles and shit. Like, there's definitely like a little something for every type of graffiti writer right now.
For sure, for sure. It's the mix across the board.
Yeah, because you got fools that came out here to grow weed that are from like Florida, Nebraska, Cali, East Coast, you know, Philly dudes, and like they're gonna like do their thing, you know, they're writers, so it makes our city look good. And with the prices of rent being what they were, like when it first popped off, people could still afford to live in the actual like Denver proper area.
Right.
So like, yeah, man.
Who are some of the cats that you see like doing it these days, going hard, like in different cities, not necessarily here?
I mean, I haven't really been traveling too much, so I can't really like give anyone like a super props. I say out here, like, I don't know, the C2K kids get it, man. Those fools are on a little tear.
Yup.
They definitely are.
I seen a Heaven last week.
Yeah, they're getting it, man, and like they do it right. Pretty sure that most of those fools rack their shit and like they bomb proper. They paint big. Out here, who else I see?
You getting some good spots.
Yeah, definitely, and like they're active too. You know, like they're not just
traveling too.
Yeah, they're not just doing like one spot a month and posting on Instagram and living off those 30 likes. They're out every night, fucking spraying. So those fools are pretty at it. And I gotta say, dude, fucking RGK, those fools are up.
They got tags everywhere.
Yeah, dude, those fools are up, man. Like they get it, dude. Like I definitely see them. You know,
no,
like,
for sure.
Let's see, who else is right now. Man, I can't really. I'm kind of high, dude.
No, I get it.
A little shot.
So,
I mean, definitely the TKOs are doing it again too. Like they're definitely active as fuck.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. We're all kind of like in the same like league with those dudes, so like I don't consider them like the younger dudes. But
right, nah, just that's one thing is like I think like a lot of people in the crews across the board in Denver is there was a moment where we stopped recruiting or they stopped recruiting.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. That's why the cats like the RGKs, they're youngers, you know what I mean? They're keeping it going.
Yeah.
But that's because they're starting with their shit. You know, you stay stagnant, you don't recruit, man. But I think, like you said, COVID kind of helped that shit, you know what I mean, along again, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a bunch of COVID writers that came and went. I'm not going to name names, but if you were paying attention to like what was going on in the streets, these fools popped up for like 6 months and then were never heard from again because it was so dead.
They're gone.
Yeah.
When, you know what I mean, you got to keep that shit going, like, you know?
Yeah, like, I'm trying to think who else is like super active that I see a bunch. I mean, like, obviously, like, Nice and the TAF dudes do it proper every time they're out. I can think of, like, 4 or 5 spots right now that they have that are rocking that are pretty sick. That dude Dacer from REM's doing his thing.
Yeah.
I'm
surprised you ain't done no rollers with them.
Dude, I'm real reclusive, man. I don't really paint with too many people, ever. My lifestyle's real different from most of my homies, and, like, my days off is, like, their Monday and Tuesday, you know? So, like, fools aren't trying to paint. A lot of them got families and shit, so I just kind of do it on my own.
Let's go to the roller thing again. How long does it take you to do a decent roller? Does it take a couple hours, or you have it kind of down right now?
I mean, I got them down. The one I did on like Park Ave that got buffed above those throwies, that took me about 3 hours. But I was really like taking my time and trying to make it look super proper. I could do a whole color auto rack in like 2.5 hours probably. If I was really pushing myself, you know, and like just going for it.
What's the longest one's ever taken you? Because I've been there. Shit, I could think a couple.
The ones where we did like, excuse me, the ones where we did like the auto rack whole cars with the whole cars, the whole train, like the whole car auto rack was the crew letters, and then we did pieces underneath. I did like 3 or 4 of those with the homies, and those took 2 nights just because the paint wouldn't dry. The roller paint was so humid that it wasn't drying.
Oh man.
Yeah, so we
just
like
using that silver in the cold, bro. That shit never dry.
Yeah, no.
That used to be your shit too, the black and silver.
Yeah,
right?
dude, for sure. I mean, I've never been a color guy, dude. It's always black, white, or silver. Like,
what would you do to battle that in the winter? Because I know you still bomb in the winter, like, but that shit takes forever to fucking dry.
I just use flat white and black now only in the wintertime. Even in the summertime, it's just easier. Super consistent. It's a bitch to shake up sometimes, but because no one really uses it, so the cans are like always in the shit. Slap the mic. Cans are always in like the back of the store, you know. But yeah, flat all the way, man. Flat black, flat white.
What's your favorite cap?
Those Boston joints are the fucking shit, dog.
Those Bostons are the shit.
That's all I need, dude. An adapter in a Boston, and I'll fucking crank like throwies all night, dude.
Yeah,
Get
those are the
sick ass
shit.
flares on them too, dude. Like those are fucking wild.
I was in LA, bro, and the homie gave me some Bostons, and he was like, they fixed them so you didn't need the adapter, right?
Yeah.
So the first fucking one, bro. Everywhere.
I was gonna say just
all over
blew
my
up.
hands, bro. First spot in LA, like I still go out and do 20 more spots that night. I'll tell you one thing, the most LA, bro, like these motherfuckers are soldiers, like probably in a night, like, you know what I mean? The night, 10, 15 spots a night, and that's not even the shit you're fucking up with back in the day. You know what I mean? That's the side work. But yeah, man, it was like I ran from the cops a couple times, like, you know what I mean? Trying to be all not suspect, and the cops are, you know what I mean? They got the homies like the cops and fucking.
Yeah, fool, you need to be dressing homeless and shit, dog. You
real.
can't be like, you can't be looking like you. Your suspect is,
A t-shirt, bro. Actually, 2 t-shirts, because that's what I did that night, bro. Like, I had a t-shirt, took that out, threw that shit. Like, it just kept walking. And my thing wasn't really the cops. I wasn't sweating that. I was tripping. The homie left, and I'm in LA. I don't know
Just
where
middle
the
of
fuck
nowhere.
I'm at. Like, I got my phone, but I don't know where I'm at.
Checking your outfit to see what color you're wearing.
Now, we was cool because I know we was kind of like, I don't know what road is, kind of by Hollywood, but way down, like going toward back downtown. So it was still kind of cool, you know what I mean? It wasn't too sketchy, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, that shit was fucking fun, man. Talk about.
Yeah, I haven't had a good chase in a while. Knock on fucking wood.
For real, for real. Any crazy chase stories, man? Back in the day?
Out here,
Or anywhere, shit.
I had a good one with this dude Nope in Atlanta. Probably like 10 years ago. We were just painting some fucking spot, lollygagging, not being professional at all. Cop rolls up. It's an older cop dude, probably in his like 50s, 60s, beat cop dude. Definitely like a veteran.
Yeah, he ain't trying to fuck with y'all.
So we're walking down the street. He rolls past us. And you know the rule, don't make eye contact, look ahead, just pretend like you're doing what you're doing. And the cop pulls off, and we can hear him like start to park in this like little gravel lot. And he's like, "Hey boys," it's like, we turn around, I'm like, "Hey," he's like, "Come here," and I was like, "Run," he's like, "Run." So we just bolt up these train tracks, and my boy's got like a good amount of trees on him, and that shit ain't kosher in Georgia, you know, like that's a fucking thing.
What do you mean?
He just had like probably like a half ounce of weed on him.
Oh, he had weed. Yeah,
Yeah.
Atlanta weed, no good. Back in the day.
Yeah. So like this was like where like he like that would be a fucking ordeal, you know.
So he'd rather run and ditch the weed than get caught. You know what I mean, if he didn't have no weed.
And I liked our odds, fool. This fool was like in his 60s, 50s, 60s, like an older dude, like gray beard, like not in peak condition. So I was like, I feel like
We could do this.
we can get away with this. So yeah, we bolt, get around the corner, duck in some bushes, and this fool is shining his light in the bushes. Hear him on his like little like walkie-talkie thing. I don't know the jargon, but blah 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 blah. 2 white males, graffiti, running eastbound on these train tracks. So he like shines the light like literally like 2 inches from me and fucking Nope, and we're just sitting there looking at each other like this, and he goes right past us, and sorry, I hit the mic again. So we go past us on the light, and he just like scans up, and then he's like, "All right, we're gonna head back to the car, wait for backup." So we're just chilling in the bushes, and you can hear this house party like 5 or 6 blocks away, just fucking raging, raging like fucking super trap music, full screaming and yelling. And I don't know if it was like fireworks or fucking the banger going off or something, but you could see the cops start to convene on the area, like 3 from this way on the tracks and 3 from this way on the tracks, to like close in. And as soon as they heard that shit, they just bounced. They just fucking immediately turned around, went back to the cars. I'm guessing they went to where the party was, because it was
bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, so we're like, all right, we chill in the bushes for like another 45 minutes, just to like, you know, make sure party stops. There's not any more music, so we're like, all right. Walking back to the car, he's like, "Fuck, I had to ditch my weed. That sucks. I had the fucking rental car, and it was in my chick's name." So I was like, "Fuck, I lost the rental car keys when we were running, because I was throwing caps and shit out of my pockets."
Right. So you guys had to go look for that shit?
Yeah, dude. So we had to go look, because he was like, I broke it down to him like this. I was like, I'd rather call my girl from jail and tell her I'm in jail for graffiti than call her right now and tell her I lost the rental car keys. Like, we're finding these fucking keys, dog. Like, this is not happening. So we spent like a good 25 minutes looking for the keys. He finds his fucking big ass bag of weed while we're looking for the keys.
He's happy.
Yeah, so we're like, all right, dude.
Gotta be close.
2 seconds later, fucking keys are right there, dude. Scoop them up, run back to the car, and fucking get the fuck out of Dodge.
How long were you guys waiting for all that ordeal?
That was probably a good 2.5 hours.
I was gonna say that waiting game. I've been in that too. And that shit sucks, bro. Like,
yeah, because you don't want to do it too premature, you know. Like,
I know you're talking. I want to go dip out, and that motherfucker was right there. And it was like I was in an abando.
Yeah.
But there was nothing in that bitch. So like, if you got a flashlight, you could scan the whole shit and see motherfucker in the corner just chilling. Like, there's nothing to hide behind.
It's just you right there in the corner, the only thing in the whole building.
I'm thinking to myself,
like, what up?
I'm thinking to myself, like, what am I gonna do, bro? Like, and so like I dig like a little hole. And I put my keys and my wallet in there. And, like, I just kind of curl up in a ball. And I figure if they come in, I'm just saying I needed a place to crash. And, you know what I mean? But they never came in, what was weird. Like, and I heard everything.
Oh, that's my move, is to look homeless, dude. I try to look as homeless as possible when I'm on the streets.
Definitely, yeah. You could definitely blend right in if you have to, especially downtown.
Oh, yeah. Downtown's a fucking free-for-all, dude. It's
a couple
wild.
of homies had to dip in the little homeless camp. Like, we might catch COVID, but fuck, it's barely me.
Yeah. Nah, those fools will put you up, too, dude. If you got a couple bucks, you're like, hey, I got to chill for a minute. Like,
I heard a wild-ass story about the homie earlier. I told you, jumping in the Platte to get away from the police and end up homeless fools across there and end up bedding up with them for like 3 hours and actually throwing on the homeless shit with the shopping cart, walking in front of the cops at 6 a.m, bro. Yeah, shit, you got to blend in.
Yeah, man, I don't like to look anything like a graffiti writer, dude. I like to look like I'm fucking homeless as fuck, or like just a step above homeless. Like I'm living in the shelter, got a good job, but still like my shoes are raggedy as fuck. You know?
Have you ever went bombing with someone and they wear like a graffiti shirt or some toy ass shit like that? I know you have.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. The worst though is like I've had to tell fools not to dress so hip hop, where they're like have like their chains and like their jewelry and shit on, and like not so much like tribal shirts. I don't even know if kids know what the fuck tribal is anymore. But like, yeah, like we're like, yeah, dude, you can't be like flossing like your fucking gold watch and you're like your ice, like while we're trying to paint a
like
spot, dude.
Club, right?
Yeah, like this ain't like, I'm a professional, homie. Like this is not like the uniform, you know.
I want to say I heard a story one time of how Preach RIP, how they kind of got popped by the snake pit, and they were all hiding in the cut, and the reflection off their New Balance like gave them away. You know what I mean? So I can imagine chains.
Hey, you know what's crazy is fucking sorry.
Go ahead.
AC paints his fucking reflectors black because of that fucking story, dude. Like,
do you know that story? Because I don't. I know a little bit, but
I don't know. I don't know the actual story, but I know they got popped because of the New Balance reflectors. They shine their lights.
Okay, I got what
the
you're talking about now. So
flashlight.
AC would paint his New Balance black.
Yeah, he would paint them black.
No, that's what I said. I heard that story. And like, I don't remember. I think it was Preach, and I want to say it was Payer probably.
Hot Boy was probably in the mix too.
There was a snake pit or some shit, and they were catching tags.
Or benders. It was probably benders.
Yeah, crazy shit. Anything like that ever kind of give you away, man? Like fucking.
I mean, back in the day, dude, I do got a funny story about some dumb graffiti shit that got me in trouble. Me and Agent and all the SDG boys were on one of our super benders, and
what night?
This was probably like January in like 2009.
I mean, but it's the first night of the bender, the second.
Yeah. This is night 2 going into 3, I believe. And so it's like 6 a.m. and cruising Colfax, basically looking for crack. You know, like all the powder's gone. Like we're fucking got a ton of booze. Like there's a bunch of us. Like, all right, we'll just go buy some crack. You know, casual Colfax crack encounter.
Sex, drugs, graffiti.
Yeah, we weren't fucking around, dog. I'll tell you that, dude. Yeah, so fucking Agent's car, the registration's expired. So I get pulled over. I already knew I was going to jail. I had warrants and shit. Like I already knew. I was like, fuck, I'm going to jail.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap, dog. And I had this fucking Padres hat on that had an RTDK embroidered in it, and the cop fucking noticed it and was like, oh, so you're the asshole that writes all over the buildings in this neighborhood. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, your hat. What's up, Mr. RTD? I was like, oh, no, I took this from some kid at a house party the other night. Like, this is just... He's like, no, we're not having that. So they pulls me...
Oh, shit.
Pulls me out of the car because I had the warrants. Pulls Agent out for sure. And then I think Geist. It was Geist, Corey, rest in peace, Geist, was the third man in this fucking scenario. And long story short, they search fucking agent's car. They find like 2 digital cameras, I think, full of flicks, a bunch of paint, some stickers. They get away with just like tickets and citations and like mandatory interviews with like the graffiti detectives. But I end up going to jail, and then they put a hold on me. So I had got arraigned, got an ROR, and then the graffiti detective had put a hold on me to be interviewed. So they wouldn't.
Roy Ball?
No, this was the newer one after him, the first batch. I don't want to say their names. So he had put a hold on me, so I couldn't leave jail until I interviewed with him, and this fucker took his sweet time, dude. I was there.
Shit.
Yeah, so I think they can only hold me for like 72 hours, and he got there at like hour like 69, 70, you know? Like, basically I told him to fuck off. I'm getting a lawyer, and that was the end of it. But he'd like, that hat was like what spawned that fucking like hold in that like interview process, was that stupid fucking hat.
God damn.
Yeah, how fucking toy is that, bro?
Never do that again, right?
Nah, son, I don't have none of that shit in the crib, dude. You ain't finding no memorabilia in my house.
For real, you got to be smart, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think I was going to ask, do you think they're harder to nowadays? But I mean, shit's kind of like we said, chilled with COVID. I mean, as long as you ain't doing nothing crazy, you know what I mean? I'm sure if you did some like viral ass shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like, I'm stoked on what's happening with Denver with the amount of tourists we get and like the amount of kids going for it, because it helps me blend in. Like, you know, back in the day, like fools like me and Coz and like those dudes were going big, and we were like the only ones, Sumo and Vash, you know, like only ones going fucking really big, you know, and like we stood out because of that. Everyone, like there was a handful of writers that like, oh damn, this fool is like really doing it. And now like going super big is like industry standard, you know?
Right. Yeah, the bigger the better.
Yeah.
Was that kind of the reason for the rollers too? Just, I mean, because rollers look clean, bro, if you can do them good, you know?
For me, it's like, I can blend in. Like if you're doing a roller, people just kind of like ignore it, you know? Like they're just like, oh, whatever, because I do my fill first, so it just looks like big.
You're buffing it.
Yeah, it just looks like I'm buffing it. And like I can rock my outline in like 30 minutes, dude. 40 minutes at the most if I'm really trying to make it super clean. So it's like you look like you're there, and then like also big giant block letters like kind of look like signs and shit. So like
looks like you're kind of doing it as well.
I mean, like, did you see that giant ass routine on Alameda and Broadway? The routine crew that we did?
I'm not sure, bro.
Yeah, that was a pull up, dude, and it's fucking like, you know where the McDonald's is on?
Yeah.
Yeah, where that used to be like a pet sauna. I don't know, I'll show you flicks later, but it's a fucking giant roller, dude. We just pulled up in the daytime like nothing, because it was all roller paint, you know, extension poles, the whole nine, dude. And
definitely kind of like I said, now that I picture it, you could definitely blend in more.
Yeah,
you know
dude.
what I mean? And look kind of, you know, the homie Heiser did like some crazy ass roller, like this crazy shit in LA, bro, like huge. And when he's talking about that, he's like, the cops rolled up on him a couple times, and he's like, I'm buffing it. It's like, I did graffiti. The owners caught me. They said if I fucking, you know, fix it, they won't press no charges. And they're like, well, why are you doing it at 4 a.m? Like, I work all day, fool.
Yeah.
And he's basically buffed out the whole wall and then did his outline that last night all fucking sick, and boom, like.
Yeah, that's the move for sure.
Fucking blockbuster, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing an RTD roller in downtown, and some like homeless dudes were like walked by, and they were like, are you painting over the graffiti, or are you doing graffiti? And I was like, both? I was like, a little bit of both? And they're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to come by tomorrow and check it out. But like, they definitely, like, as opposed to like spraying, you know, like being out there spraying and shit. Like,
it makes like you said, it looks like, honestly, like you could honestly say if the cops rolled up on you, you'd be like, I'm buffing the wall.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Because that first scene is just the whole feel.
And especially in Denver, street art is so accepted. Like, and even outside of Rhino, like, fools get away with daytime, like, illegal shit in downtown all the time. Like, they just blend in and look like they're supposed to be there. Like, there's a way to do it.
Smart way, yeah.
People are starting to catch on.
Hey, that's good, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, it helps me blend in.
Heck yeah, man. Especially that there's like a lot more people. And like you said, the thing nowadays too, man, is back in the day is people, well, they told me the other day, it makes a lot of sense. People are always looking at their fucking phone.
Yeah.
They're not really worried about what I'm kind of doing. You know what I mean? Especially if I, like I said, got an extension. Like you said, it's not spray painting my name all. Ooh, look, he's like, oh, okay, he's just working, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, talking, if you throw the vest on, like the fucking construction vest, dude, like, you're just blending in, dude. You're just out here making your $18.95 an hour, like, union benefits, just buffing away.
That's dope, man. Yeah, I think bigger is better, definitely.
Yeah, I got some shit planned, dude. I got this one spot. We'll see if it pans out, but.
Do you think they're tough on the buff like that here with the big rollers? It kind of seems like they are a little, no?
Nah, I feel like that shit is, you got a better, because it's bigger, and like I said, it blends in, dude. Like, you don't really know, like, a lot of people don't really see rollers as, like, actual, like, graffiti. Like, I feel like if it's not reported, it's going to run.
Right.
And now we're going to hype up a bunch of toys that want to do rollers, and fucking rollers are going to get burnt. I'm going to have to find something cool to do next.
Just go even bigger, you know what I mean?
We go smaller, just start doing little tiny fill-ins on, like, sewer lids.
You got to come up with some creative ass shit, bro. Like, because like you said, there's especially nowadays.
Well, I was running those 2-letters on the dumpsters for a while because I had all these fucking scrap cans. And it was like the middle of winter. So I was just like, instead of tagging these dumpsters, let's fucking just do some throw-ups on them. Fuck it. They're already grilled. Like, it's going to run. But then a lot of kids started doing that shit in downtown. I was like, all right, the trend's over. I gotta find something
they pick
new.
it up quick. You gotta keep constantly changing it, you know?
Which I like it, dude. It keeps everyone like motivated. And like I said, the standard's pretty high out here. Like, if you want to be accepted in like this graffiti scene or whatever, like, you got to be pretty good and like consistent. And there's a lot of pretty good, consistent kids out here right now.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? Man, I'm high as a motherfucker, bro.
Same.
Shit. So where do you ever see yourself stopping graffiti?
Nah.
Quitting?
Nah, I'm a lifer, dude. I'm gonna be fucking catching scribes in the nursing home, dog. Straight the fuck up. I mean, I might have to take breaks here and there, but...
We all do.
Yeah, I ain't never stopping, dude. That's not even an option in my life. I'll always be, like, in the restaurant catching a scribe or at the gas station catching a scribe or putting a sticker up somewhere. Like, I may not be doing, giant-ass fill-ins and rollers when I'm 60, but, I'll be that old man putting up stickers in fucking Pacific Beach. Like, yeah.
For sure. Hey, do you see yourself staying in Denver for a while?
Yeah, man, I don't think I'm going anywhere. I feel like this is home. It's been like 20 years, so I know the city. I got a lot of friends out here. It's a thriving city for the industry I work in. And I just love it, man. 4 seasons, but not extreme seasons. There's no flying insects. Like, Denver's the shit.
Yeah, it's not too bad, nothing too crazy, huh?
I wish my rent was like it used to be when I first met you.
My rent was, like you said, was $500 forever, bro. For like probably 10 years, it was $500. It never changed.
So do you remember that fucking apartment I had by the
school?
Yeah, on Ogden by the 7-Eleven on Colfax and Ogden.
I remember the one like when we all met up for preaches when all the
That's the one in the basement. Yeah. So I lived in that building in like 3 different apartments in that building for like almost 9 years. And when I moved back to Denver, I tried to get into that building, get the same spot, and the rent that used to be like $650 was $1,290 for a basement studio. I was just like, fuck.
I want to say my shit started going up like 100, like literally every 2 months, bro. It was just going up, and then before you know it was like 1,200.
Well, going back to the weed shit, that's the weed industry. And the tech industry bringing all those people out here. Fools were like, oh shit, Denver's cheap. And then everyone moved out here and made Denver not cheap.
Like you said, like if you're from LA or from Boston or New York, like you look at the rent here and you're like, oh shit, that's a quarter of what I'm paying right now. So they already have that money, so they could come here and drop the whole year down. You know what I mean?
Like nothing, dude. Like the rent in San Diego when I was looking out, wild, bro. For like the tiniest apartments, like $3,000, $4,000. Just like, fuck, how much, like, what is your career where you can afford to live like that? Like, what are you doing, like, to live in downtown San Diego and your rent is $17,000 a month?
And that's not even counting everything else like gas and fucking,
that's just baseline.
You know what I mean? Like, you working for rent, like, that much. Like, damn. Denver's there. Like I said, we're like LA and all those places. We're just 10 years behind, bro, so...
Well, I mean, that's part of the appeal of when I first moved here was I always called it like the San Diego of the Midwest. It just had mountains instead of beaches. Mm-hmm. Real laid back vibe, like, especially back then when it was smaller. Like, people minded their own business. People were like pretty friendly for the most part, just like in San Diego. So I was like, oh, this shit is just like, instead of go to the beaches, I'll just go to the mountains and snowboard.
Exactly. I don't know. I used to not mind the cold weather, but now that I'm getting older, man, this shit kind of sucks.
Yeah, I'm over it, dude. I'll take it a couple times a year, but like, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow if it's really like -4
and we're still all fucked up from COVID, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of feel what I'm saying? Like, shit ain't still the same. Everything's fucking. Everything used to be open 24/7.
Yeah, there's no late night food in this city. If somebody could come here and open up a 24-hour restaurant that was decent, they would make a fucking killing because you'd be the only restaurant in the city, at least Denver proper.
Yeah. Like, yeah, like I still feel like shit just still ain't the same, man. Like, we're not still way back in the mix like it was before. And whoever thought that shit would happen, did you ever think the fucking world would be shut down like that, bro?
Nah, dude, I thought it was a joke. Once they canceled the St. Patrick's Day parade, I was like, okay, this is serious. And then once opening day got canceled for the Rockies, I was like, oh fuck, we're like doing this for real. And that's like the day everything in Denver pretty much shut down.
Yeah, that shit was real, bro. Like, I remember I went to LA and like I'm at work and like everyone is sick, bro. Like everyone. I'm talking like motherfuckers are going home daily and that shit don't happen. You know,
Yeah.
it might be rare that someone gets that sick at work where they gotta go home, but it happened like 3-4 days in a row.
Yeah.
And motherfuckers was going home and shit. And like, I remember this bitch, like she was like over my shoulder, fool, and I'm working, and she like asked me something, just straight coughed on me. Like, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, I did not want to go to LA and get fucking sick. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be on my Michael Jackson the whole time, bro. I even remember this bitch. I told this chick, I made it through work. All these motherfuckers are sick. I made it. I'm not sick. You know what I mean? I leave tomorrow, so I'm gonna get sick at the airport. You know what I mean?
Why would she put that on you? Fuck that.
So I get to LA, everything's cool. Met the homie who put me onto the weed paste and all that. I linked up with him, you know, and he's put me on game. You know, shout out. You know, appreciate everything. And we're on Hollywood, or we're on Melrose. And we bump into one of his homies, and this dude is like a weed influencer, like big time Cali motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
And we're all just chopping it up. We're, you know, putting weed paste up and stickers on Melrose and shit. And the fool's like, y'all want to smoke a blunt? I was like, yeah, I smoke. He's like, but y'all ain't sick, right? He's like, well, everyone's just sick. And I'm like, I know. I was like, everyone at work. And so we smoke and, you know, come back to Denver, like, you know, 3-4 days later. 2 days later, that shit is shut the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like, I got a letter from work saying I can go to work. I mean, I work in a call center, a million motherfuckers. In my shit, we got customer service, collections, fraud, everything. Like a motherfucking gang of motherfuckers. Like, I'm one of like 5 people that can go to work in the building and shit, and that shit was real.
Yeah, I remember the place I worked at shut down. I was like 2 hours late, and I'm like never late. And I thought I was gonna get like fired, you know. And the GM was like, "Oh, you're just lucky. Like, we're closing for 3 weeks because that was the thing. It was 3 weeks. So she's like, "Yeah, this is your do over. You know, you get a mulligan on this one." But yeah, 3 weeks turned into like
a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, that place never opened back up.
I still work it from home now. They finally got me to go home and work because I don't want to get.
Yeah, dude, that must be nice. I don't know. I feel like
it is what it is.
I would have trouble getting motivated. I'd have to go somewhere.
All day, every day, bro. So, you know what I mean?
I feel like I'd have to go to a coffee shop or something just to like
do something.
Not be lazy and like watch TV instead of work. I'm bad at that shit.
Hell yeah. Well, shit, man. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah,
man.
Joey T, it's been a minute.
It has, bro. Like I said, we had a little period there where fucking, you know, I was rolling with you guys every night, filming shit here and there. Like, you know what I mean? Just
got a little run for sure.
And that's crazy because now that we think about it, that shit was all before the Rhino.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at that little piece of video, people would be probably like, because it's just a parking lot.
Yeah.
Now,
and it's still a one-way in that video. I'm pretty sure that I'm sure because that's why we used to always paint that spot is because it was on the one-way. It was the backside of the one-way.
And you could never see that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that neighborhood's wild, dude. I remember like
that was all industrial.
Yeah, that was like the free-for-all neighborhood. That was like anyone that came to Denver painted spots over there because it would run, and like there was no police presence over there, dude. It was just homeless fools and like warehouse parties and crackheads, you know,
and bars. Yeah,
there's like 3 bars, 4 bars, and 1 gas station. I think the only thing left on Brighton Boulevard from that time is that 7-Eleven and the Salvation Army. Do you know, like, it's like, remember where they had that, Gamma had those portraits?
Yeah.
So that 7-Eleven right there, I think, is the only thing still left.
That one, there's those little couple hotels that are kind of still there. That's what I was talking about. I hit out fucking one night, that crazy, it's like kind of catty corner, but it's still kind of there in the cut, you know what I mean? But it's just crazy how that shit's changed.
Yeah, I mean, it's
we were watching those old videos earlier, and like, yeah, like that spot I had with like Shoe and Co's and I think Riker and Sire, like that was like it was like what, a little RC kart track. You remember that? Like the remote control cars, they would race them there.
Yeah.
And now that shit's just like giant condos. Like, imagine owning that little tiny lot and having it like for like 30 years and then being able to cash out for like millions to like let somebody build some condos right there.
For real, dog, because you could have got that shit cheap as fuck, probably.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest regrets in life is not buying property out here when I could have bought property out here on the low.
I was like 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I got here a little after that, but even then, dude, like, at one point I looked at a fucking condo in Cap Hill and it was only like 90 grand, and now that shit's like 800,000. Like, you know, like 90 grand full, like.
I remember little spots in Global, even where my dad lives, bro. Little 1-bedroom houses, like 10, 20 grand.
Yeah.
Just trying to get rid of that shit. You know what I mean? And like fucking Globeville's like 5 minutes. You know, not even 5. Yeah, 5 minutes from the fucking the Rhino.
Yeah, that's gonna be the next neighborhood that's gone. I feel like they're gonna turn that into like a little bar hip area next.
That and like I want to say we're like, you know, where I kind of grew up, like Dunham, like 40th and
Yeah.
you know the highway, because they done got rid of the highway and put all those parks, and now it's getting crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Well, shit, man. Like I said, I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. You got any final shout outs?
Nah, man. Rest in peace, Doer. That's about it.
Well, shit, there you have it, man. Like, if you don't know, you'll see him in the streets, man. Look for those big ass rollers. You know what I mean?
I'll be out there. Adios, Denver.
There you go. Peace.